Jane, we've discussed various aspects of your career and your interests and connected it with very many aspects of conservation so far. I think there are two or three things which are some things you can really speak on with great familiarity, and people would like to know about them. Maybe you could tell us something about the various issues on which you had initiated PILs, public interest litigation, and what this, how this serves as a kind of weapon or a method for drawing attention to and to leading to effective conservation.
You see, in fact, PIL is actually a last resort, and that is what court wants. Of course, people are misusing it now, and they are going for PILs for small things, which court has now been very strict about it. So it requires a lot of homework, and the whole idea is this: that if you have exhausted for a good cause, for a good purpose, public cause, that is why they are called public interest litigation. So if something is in the public interest and it's not being done, or is not being delayed, or is not being taken care of by the government, or agencies or other people, things, you have to first talk to those agencies. Then you have to talk to the administrators or departments of that particular field in which you want to do that. Then thirdly, then you have to use press, publicize it. The issue should be this thing. You should have enough letter writing to and fro, and if nothing happens, then you can go to court. But I took a step further. What I've done 6 PILs and I've won all of them. And as you know, all PILs are against the government. So therefore, but what I did was keep all my 6 PILs were almost with the consent of the government or the authorities at that point of time. Reason being, I tell you what, when you are an activist in any field, you have to, you can't be activist of dharna de diya, and then those kind of things, and then shouting slogans or mashal ka jalus nikal, not that. If you really mean to get things done, you have to work very closely with the government also, and against the government also. You can well say that in one hand you have a carrot and in another hand you have a danda or something like that. But I've found that 60-70% people in the government systems are good. It is only 20-30 people encouraged sometimes by the local vested interest, those who create problems. So therefore, if you can wade your way through all that kind of, understanding all that kind of thing, and you are in touch with the government systems in any case, because you are working for an organization, or you are an individual with a credibility. Therefore, you talk to the government. You already talked to the government in any case, and you have talked to the authorities. The authorities also, wherever possible, have tried to help you. But sometimes they become helpless because of something or the other. At that point of view, at a point of time, if you sometimes, but I should say, ask them, should I go for a PIL, you think? Because your efforts, or such good efforts, have not yielded any results. And they will not give you in writing that you go for a PIL. And they say, okay, do that if you want. That is normally the answer you get. And in most of the cases, for example, when I threatened for PIL, in the case of metro going overhead from this thing, I took all the, what I should say, methods and all kind of efforts through the press, through the, through people, through ASI, because ASI was not keen to give the permission, but there was the pressure of the minister and that kind of thing. I did a case study. I spent 50,000 rupees in that case study. But that case study was that they were taking metro from IIT, till IIT underground, and then they were taking it up, on stills. They will straight away from IIT, they will go to Qutub Minar. From Qutub Minar, they will go to Andheriya Mode. Where is the traffic between these 5 kilometers? They are 5 kilometers, 5 kilometers distance, or 3.5 kilometers. Where are the passengers? And they didn't even realize that tourists normally don't use metros. Tourists come by buses and they have their own destinations. So they don't use metro unless there is somebody who is like who is like what I should say, staying in Delhi. So I mean, and the case study was that if they take because their logic was that the funds is a problem. Because if they take the metro underground, it costs them 100 crores of rupees extra. That means 3 kilometers detour means 300 crores. And I got the ASI chief, or head at that time, Mr. Babu, to organize a meeting in which I wanted to make a presentation with all these facts and figures to Mr. Sridharan, whom I didn't know, and he will not listen to me. But I asked, I'm telling you the technique, that you are using systems against the systems, and still getting your what you want actually. Then after that presentation, Ratish was there. Actually, Ratish did all that legwork at that time also. And we made a presentation. After the presentation, I asked Mr. Sridharan, I said, Mr. Sridharan, please tell me, frank opinion, whether you prefer an underground or overground. He said, left to me, and if I got money, I will have everything underground. I mean, that's, and if I'm not, I don't have a time constraint that I have to do it in 2 years or 3 years, then overhead is better. I mean, because we can do it faster. It's about 3 times faster and 3 times less costly. So therefore, I said, are you sure that I said, sir, can I get this minuted, that you don't mind, you prefer it to be underground, provided the money is made available and more time is given by the government of India. He said, yes, of course, because he was a very straightforward man. And he said, yes. And I asked Mr. Babu to make it, get it, what I should say, a minute, a part of the minute. With that minute, those minutes, and with that meeting, I drafted a petition to the Prime Minister, and then sat at IIC for 2 days, because everybody who matters comes to IIC. Those who matter at the like journalists, like people, those who are active, and those kind of people, I mean, who will have some say. And I got about 100 signatures done in 2 days. And with that 100 signatures, I sent the petition to Prime Minister House. And as I said earlier, you have to have your network also to be, if you are into it, these PIL things and heritage conservation and things, issues like that. If you are really running a activist organization, you should have a good network. That's one thing which is very crucial, which people don't understand. They feel that by fighting they will achieve everything. It is not, I don't think so. People have achieved much more by negotiations than by confrontation. And with that petition and 100 signatures, Metro got the money. So even in spite of, I had written the PIL was ready, but it was done just before that. But the same thing happened again. Another good example of PIL is Police Memorial. Now it was a horrendous structure which came about within 2 years, and we started a campaign against it. When nobody, and I talked to the Lieutenant Governor, I talked to the Chief Minister, I talked to Minister in the Centre, and everybody said it's a horrendous thing. But they said it was inaugurated by the then Deputy Prime Minister there at that time, and the police is a police memorial, so very strong people behind it, and they will not let you do that. And after that, I talked to almost a dozen police officers. Barring 2, 10 were with me. This is a horrendous structure. I said, I'm not asking that you remove the police memorial. Your place stays there. But the structure is bad. I mean, then we again did the homework, took the photographs from Motibag overbridge, that it is blocking the view. So, and we talk to them about skyscape. I mean, it's a landscape, but it's a skyscape also, which matters to the cities, and all those kind of things which we did and talked to many people, and ultimately what we did was again we did the same thing. We for the PIL, you have to be an interested party. That why it is affecting you. So what I did was I went to Vikram Lal of Aishar, who lives very next door, and then I went to Air Marshal Arjun Singh, who again lives next door, and I got their signatures, and I got Mr. George Varghese, who lives in New Delhi, little away, but not because of public policy, Institute of Public Policy. So that was also located there. So I got these signatures. PIL was ready. I pushed it, and then and we got it removed. It's a very rare example that a structure with government money has been made and it has been removed with 7 or 8 crores of rupees loss, because it's very difficult in the government of India or any government system to write off the expense. I mean, there can be 10 questions in the parliament and all that kind of. Once they have made an investment, they have to do it. So like now, because of my networking with the officers, with the people, in fact, I got signatures of 3 police officers. Mr. What was his name? Call. One was Call. Then Arun Bhagat, and then other gentleman, who is a very nice man. I forgot the name. Anyway, so I got even those signatures. The police officers, they say the structure is not good. The site is good, but the structure is not good. And we got it done. Like that, every PIL, whether it was, then there was, I mean, when we published this listing, those 2 volumes in which you have the introduction, after those 2 volumes, I was able to persuade the Lieutenant Governor to somehow make it public that these are heritage buildings. Now, according to law, if you can't have what I should say, a notification in a hurry without the due process, with the process of being through the assembly and through these and all that kind of thing. Now the LG said if you put it in the process, it will take 2 years. I said, sir, we are in a hurry, So at his own, because he's a gutsy man, with his own this thing, he published it in the newspapers, full 3 pages, and an entire list, and said these buildings have been declared as heritage buildings, and therefore nothing should happen without the prior permission of the DED or something like that. What happened was that although it was not a legal declaration or notification, but it somehow, because it was issued by the DDA, I mean, it has a validity. I mean, but the building mafias and the people, those who are in the big business, the land businesses, they are very clever. They knew that it doesn't have a legal sanctity. So they demolished 6 buildings, including Haksar Valley, during the short period of 2-3 months. 6 beautiful buildings, including Diwan Chand Hospital on Mandir Marg, including Haksar Haveli and many others. With the photographs of those Havelis as in the list, and after they were demolished, I went to the court again. And there again I talked to the LG, I talked to everybody, and they said there's the only way. I talked to DDY chairman also. He said, we have no problem. Since we are a partner in this whole project and we want to regulate this thing to be passed in the master plan also, the part of master plan, so we have no problem. After talking to them, we went to the court and we got, and it was on the basis of and I went straight to Supreme Court. Why I could go to the, is a story which I can't say, but somebody was helping me, somebody very big. I mean, that is why I say that for a non-profit organization who really want to get things done, it is very, very crucial to have a good network. So therefore, PIL becomes necessary, essential. But to be able to win a PIL, because if you lose the PIL, you are harming the cause. Because if you are fighting for a cause, it is better to keep fighting than to go to a PIL and lose the PIL. PIL should be a sure shot. I mean, one of the things which you have to see before you file the PIL, that there should be some kind of some good, what I should say, is a sensitive judge who accepts the PIL. If the judge is not sensitive, sometimes PIL it dies before it's born, you know. So therefore, these are all the tricks of the trade you can say, or you should say experience, which requires, you know. I mean, I personally feel that if you are fighting public causes or social causes, you have to be, you have to see from all angles. You can't say just one track minded. You have to see it from all angles, and because your purpose is to get the things done. Now, this is my experience of PILs.
Actually, that I mean, you put this so well. The fact that you should work with the system instead of against it, and I just wonder whether you can. I have been puzzled by this. I'm asking you to help. The word stakeholders is something we keep hearing all the time. I'm just wondering whether there are enough stakeholders, for instance, in the buildings which are occupied by officers or by families. Are they really stakeholders with an interest in conservation, or would they by and large be indifferent or wanting to change? And places like New Delhi, which has a shifting population of bureaucrats, again doesn't have a kind of core base of people or stakeholders. Would you see this as a problem?
I tell you, it's a big problem. As you are perhaps aware that I was a founding partner of the Nimrana Fort Palace. I was the 1/3 partner for 10 years. Later on, I sold my share to the other partners because they wanted to make it a hotel. I said, I am not interested in making a hotel. I was interested in a hotel, but half hotel, but half cultural center or something. Anyway, that's a different story. But Nimrana has done exemplary work and by way of restoring it and making it commercially viable. And now there are 1,000 Nimranas. You know, I mean, Maharajas were selling their palaces in 80s when we bought it, 82. They were selling their palaces for 10 lakhs rupees or 20 lakhs rupees. And now they know there is money in the heritage and that kind of thing. My, what I should say, view about heritage conservation or heritage has always been that unless heritage is profitable for the people, stakeholders, heritage will not survive, whatever you may do. You have to make it profitable. Even projects like Ganga cleaning or Yamuna cleaning has never succeeded, primarily because, I mean, the stakeholders are the culprits actually. If you asked about the Havelis and you asked about this thing, there is not a single Haveli wala who wants any Haveli to be preserved and conserved, because by declaring it, actually dozens of my cousins or distant cousins have Havelis which have been listed. They are all cursing me day in and day out. They say, you have ruined us, because this Haveli next to us building, they have made it 4 stories and they are making tons of money. And we are stuck because we can't do anything about it. And we have never given any plan for Haveli conservation, and Havelis can be converted into these things. Simultaneously, if you give them a because what we suggested to the government at the time, which I fought for, was a transferable FAR. I mean that if you are allowed to, whatever is the FAR, is not allowed, you can sell that FAR to anybody who wants more FAR. I mean, so therefore that becomes profitable. Unfortunately, it never happened because you have to pursue it all the time. I've been because of my past business experience and past experience of Neemrana and other things, I know that, and without, I mean, for example, I'll give a very practical example. If there is some mad, crazy man, which there are not many, I mean, say, negotiate 10 Havelis in Delhi and negotiates with the owners first, have some kind of, a good credibility and good kind of money, and that person, entrepreneur, should also have some money to give them advance or something. And then he negotiates with 5 fashion designers and 5 good restaurants to take on those Havelis. Vijay Goyal has done it recently. I mean, he has started, people are living there now, and it's booked for food and for living also. Now this is the answer, but nobody has got that entrepreneurship. Government rules are such. Now they have allowed those Havelis but the maximum the government has done is to unka house tax has been waived. House tax were very nominal. Somebody was paying 100 rupees, somebody was paying 200 rupees. House tax was never a problem. The problem was the FAR. If government would have taken simultaneously the steps to offer the FAR to those people, lots of Havelis would have been. And then a practical suggestion. Suppose Rohit Bal goes to the city and opens a store there. Not that he has to live there. He opens a fashion house there. And people don't realize that with the metro going to Old Delhi, it has changed the whole scenario. You get down at Chowdhury Bazaar and you walk through Chowdhury Bazaar to Nai Sadak to Maliwala to Dariba to Chandni Chowk. I mean, it's a rich experience of the lifetime experience. Recently, for example, within 5 years, there is a place here near Shahpur Jat. Here, within 5 years, 200 fashion shops have been opened there.
It's called Fashion Street.
Within 5 years. I remember it when first one of my friends took the risk and went there, and now there. Now that kind of entrepreneurship doesn't exist in heritage activists. They are all, what I should say, nice people, very well-meaning people, very dedicated, everything. But I mean, you have to think beyond it. I mean, why National Trust of UK is the richest property owner in the world? Because they could find a practical way. That is what Intact was built. Intact was created primarily for that purpose, to become the National Trust of UK. That was the whole idea.
But it is completely different.
But it's completely different now.
Because the National Trust in UK owns 1/3 of the property of Britain.
That is what I'm saying. But because they have been able to buy them and convert them into profitable propositions. So people are giving it to them. Either they buy it or they take it on lease, because they have developed an expertise to run a heritage hotel or a heritage place. They have got programs there, they have got film screenings there, they have got book discussions there, they have got everything. That heritage, people's interest in saving the heritage buildings will only can happen if we make that proposition profitable for them and have some laws which are friendly to the stakeholders. Like Ahmedabad has done a lot, and Pondicherry has done. In Pondicherry also it's happening. Every heritage building becomes a hotel. Or I mean, in Delhi we have got a very good scheme of bed and breakfast. Now, if you can convert 2 Havelis as bed and breakfast place, it's an experience, And lots of tourists, those who come for 2-3 days or 5 days or 10 days. I mean, people can come here and spend 10 days or 12 days. Then the tourists, those who want to stay for more time, will also come. If they can stay, tell me, if they can stay in Paharganj, the dirtiest place, hotels, small hotels, why can't they stay in old Havelis? In Chandni Chowk? It's as simple as that. Paharganj is dirtier than Old Delhi.
I think maybe this brings us on to the much larger question for the future of heritage management, because apart from these kind of small solutions by owners or other interested people, maybe there is a whole kind of area which has to be developed here, and I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this matter, because heritage management has to be taken seriously.
See, I tell you what, I've done a lot of work on that. I'm very proud of that work. It didn't move ahead because of, I'll tell you the reason what it was and what we did. Heritage management is the most important thing when we talk of heritage. In fact, you can say it's one leg of the heritage, because I think there are, all these things, heritage management, government policies, activism, non-profit organizations, they are all together. Everything has to happen simultaneously. Only then things will move. Without management is something which we are a very ancient country, 5,000 years, 3,000 years, whatever you may say. But we never had management of, except our temples to some extent, managed by a committee or something. Management was never known in India of anything. Management of streets, management of big business. They were small business, we were all traders. We never had, management came with the industrialization in the world. And we were deprived of industrialization because we were slaves at that time. So therefore the world management never got into our psyche or our systems. That is why. And also because we were a feudal country, we were always managed by somebody else. We never managed ourselves. And all the big institutions were managed by Rajas and Maharajas, later on by government, British government. And then, and another thing which goes along with the management is the economic viabilities of the institutions. Institutions were created always through either donation or by charity or by government systems. So therefore, nobody thought of economic viabilities of institutions, which is a part of management. Because if you have an economic system or economic viability system, you will have the management. Therefore, it is absolutely a new world for us. In 1987, I went to America and many other European countries, and I saw how beautifully their institutions are managed. So it got into my head, and I said, I must do something about it. So I went to meet the chairperson of Getty Foundation, and I discussed with her, and I want to start some management institute or something like that in Delhi. And for that trial and for that, what I should say, a preparatory kind of thing, I want some grant. And she gave me $100,000 just like that. And she said, I promise you, for this thing, money is not a problem. Whatever you want, you come to me, I'll give you the money. Now, point is this, that I came here, and then we called it SIM, Sanskriti Institute for Management of Cultural Institutions. Because when I discuss with many people, people say, don't say cultural management. And if you say heritage management, then it will be old buildings and things like that. And if you say cultural management, the cultural people will be up in arms that you can't manage culture. So basically then what we decided, that it is primarily, that is what I thought, that it is primarily the management of a cultural institutions. That if you are trained to run an cultural institution, whether that institution is a museum or a library, or it is Intech, or it is art gallery, or it is whatever, it's a dance company, or it is a theatre company. I mean, they are all cultural management. Because you see, any cultural management, when we call it, or management we call it, 60-70% is the pure management. It is that 30-40% which is the related to the discipline and related to the cause for which you are managing. Therefore, and we had 3 days conference here. I called 2 people from Britain and 2 people from Australia, and then about 50 people spoke in that 3 days conference. Now what happened? I mean, now we were perfectly all right. What I did was that because of my capacity to do the networking, I took a partnership with Gurgaon में जो Indian Institute of Management है, I took them as partners. And they were prepared to be a partner and run this SIM, Sanskriti Institute for Management of Cultural Institutions, either here or at their own campus. I prefer their campus primarily because of the fact that they have got facilities, they are a big library, and then faculty is there, and then computers are there, and everything. And they were prepared to give me a block of their this thing. It was supposed to be residential, 20 people, and this thing. What I did was I also took, as I told, it is always I have done it with the help of the government systems also. I was able to persuade that Secretary Culture Iyer, and he was with me totally. He came at the concluding session, and he also in between the session also. He has just taken over. Before that, BP Singh was the cultural secretary who went to Home Department, but still he came to our conference. And I involved everybody, almost everybody who mattered, they came to that conference. Now you know where we got stuck. I again, after doing that successfully, and Getty Foundation was very happy. And I talked to IIM also, IMI also. They said for 1 year, for 2 years, we will need 3 crores to run this, because we are presuming that not many people will have to give scholarships. So, and with the teaching costs and everything, it came to 3 crores. And when I went to Getty again, she said, I'll give you more, but only on one condition. If you can solve it, I'll give you that money tomorrow. And you know what was that condition? The condition was that once these boys and girls come out from that institute, where will they be employed? Will there be a placement guarantee by the government? Because Government of India is the biggest stakeholder, all the museums are with her, with the government, all the heritage sites are with them, all the big institutions are with them. They are the biggest employer in the cultural field. Rest of it is very peripheral, art galleries and few private trusts and all that. Where is the private sector in cultural field? Nothing. If you look, there are hardly 2-3 private collectors in the country, those who would like to show their collection. Tell me, how many? Not very few. You can count them on fingers.
And such a contrast to
the USA and all that. Everything is with the government. So what they said, Getty said was, that if the government guarantees that these people will be taken in the systems, right from there, even at a lower this thing, we will give you the money. And when I came back, Mr. Nayyar, sar patak liya unhone. He tried his level best. He was such a nice man. He tried his level best to get this clause removed from the cultural department services. 10 years experience, 5 years experience. Where will you have 5 years experience and 3 years experience, or for 10 years experience? 10 years for a good post, 5 years for a middle level post, and 3 years for minimal, for start as a clerk. Even if you say start as a clerk, where will you get the job? Now what is happening now? So it never worked out, and I had to close that chapter. And after that, many efforts have been done by Bangalore IIM, recently did this thing. Pooja Sood is doing it in a small way, only through our booklets, because she learned a lot about it. They mention it always, it is because of the Sanskrit initiative. And still now we have got 2 people working with us in our museums. I mean, I have already sent about 10 people from Sanskriti in the government system, because they need 3 years experience. So they work with us for 3 years and then they get a job. Like that. So point is that they get 3 years experience and they get good experience under Dr. Jyotindra Jain. He is my trustee director. So they learn a lot under him.
That's a very practical step.
That's a practical step. And everybody who has worked with me has gone to positions and they are doing well, because I am a hard task master, and I'm a practical and hands-on person. I don't talk academic, or I don't talk theory, or I don't talk this thing. I personally feel that it's a hands-on thing. Primarily, I mean, if you are reasonably educated, say graduate, if you have a lot of common sense, you can do anything in the world. If you have passion. I mean, if you don't have passion, then nothing happens. And that is what has gone wrong in the country. There are 2 things which we have lost out. I might have said it in our previous interview also, but I'll repeat it, that after independence we have lost 2 things. One is that we don't dream anymore. And then we are not that kind of passion or that kind of, कहते हैं ना, जिसको कहते हैं कि एक जो लड़ने की हिम्मत होती है.
Persevere. I mean, just sticking to what you want. And
वो हो जाए तो ठीक है. Anything can happen. And in cultural field, because we are all ekla chalore, so we never get together, we never talk to each other. We pull each other's legs. We talk to a dancer, she will be pulling other dancers' leg all the time. We talk to a writer, then he will be criticizing that writer.
yeah, that seems to be a problem in many professions, and it's really tragic, because when it is holds together.
Well, I mean, in economic field, this is not a problem. In doctors, doctors don't talk against each other.
You should be able to cooperate with others.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a question of, I tell you what, I am fully convinced that this century, 21st century, is going to be a century of collaborations, partnerships. And in the cultural field, there is a great scope for doing that. Partner with people, collaborate with people. I don't have everything. For example, this ceramic center we have established with Delhi Blue. I mean, we have started another collaboration of enamel art with Vinu Shah. Like that, we are now doing partnership with other organizations and individuals, and then you can't do everything yourself. And why can't we do that? I've got something, I've got place, I've got environment, I've got infrastructure, you have got some beautiful ideas. Come, let's work together. This is what we need. Somebody has got money, somebody has got ideas, somebody has got hands-on experience. This is what Ratish has done. It is somebody else's money, it is somebody else's property, and he, being a catalyst, has been able to do so much. The only example of its kind where the area of a World Heritage Site has been extended. It was 70 acres, now it is 200 acres.
This is the Humayun's tomb site.
If you include Sundar Nursery and the area around, and even that जो शुरू में monument ठीक हो रहा है, आप देखिए वो सबको मिला लीजिए, पीछे भी उसने ज़मीन एक्वायर करवा ली, आगे से खाली करा लिया सारा. All that thing has happened. So this is management. It's a good example. It's not that. He has not gone to IIM or anything, but by hands-on experience he has done it. But he has a passion. Those passionate people are no more, particularly in cultural field. Because you see, I tell you why. Because in the cultural field, there is no money. I mean, unless you are, and even for a dancer or a musician, the art is dying, because there is not much of money. Very few people at the top get money. For example, artists. I mean, very few नाम बिकते हैं, 10, 20, 25 नाम बिकते हैं, वही आर्ट रोटेट हो रहा है, रज़ा का और हुसैन का और इसका उसका. बाकी सब आर्टिस्ट धक्के खाते फिर, they are all loitering. So unless young minds, young people are going towards other things, where they position themselves as a entrepreneur or going into sectors where there is a scope. Even today, I can't afford to pay more than 35, 50 or 40,000 rupees. Or the highest paid person in our organization is 45,000. We can't afford. I mean, the people, those who are working with me are also passionate, little bit passionate. That's why they are working. Otherwise, they have a capability of earning 1 lakh of rupees outside. That is the problem. And people don't know how to make.
Necessarily go together.
Hmm?
I don't think money and passion.
They
have to be
don't.
on the same
No, I
level.
agree.
Because, for instance, in my profession, in teaching, our salaries were fairly modest.
Very much,
But
yeah.
we enjoyed our work.
Now it's little more, but earlier it was very little. And of course, I quite agree. I mean, even profession of doctor or medicine profession was a passion, because there was not so much of money in medicine. There was not enough money for teaching. But people had passion. People had this thing. Now, now in teaching profession, there is a good salary and good security, and you have to work 6 months a year. I mean, there are a lot of other facilities, which a teacher. I mean, but at the same time, in cultural field, tell me how people will survive.
I think this goes back to school, that when children, own performance is graded according to certain areas which are sort of fashionable or regarded as practical. And things like the arts are called extramural, they're outside the walls of the school, which it shouldn't be. They should take center stage. And
Yeah.
if you are an artist or enjoy music and want to create music, then that should be what you specialize in. So somewhere, from the beginning, I think it is possible, because there is still, after all, our
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying that still things are surviving. There are lots of passionate people. I'm very fortunate and lucky that at Sanskriti, because we give our space to all the NGOs in Delhi, and they come, I see hundreds of passionate people working for different causes. It's not that. I'm only talking of culture particularly because on one side there is Amjad Ali Khan, and there are people, those who sing well or dance well, but they don't get any opportunity.
No,
So
I
therefore
take
it's
your points. I think they're extremely important and should reach the years of powers that.
Because unless, as I said earlier, I will still repeat that besides passion, unless you make the cultural sector a profitable proposition for everybody, people will not get into it. I mean, a girl can learn dancing to enhance her personality for a while, but unless she is crazy about dance, she will never be a dancer. So up to a point, it stops, which is okay. I mean, I don't mind that. Everybody can't be Hari Prasad Chaurasia. But the point is that, fewer and fewer people are there in the field now. Those who have that kind of a passion, or even, forget about passion, I would say even a concern about it. Anyway, I think still I have not lost hope, and things are happening in spite of that. One good thing is that, and then government policies are also like that. They have, and people are also like that, because the government policy about CSR, for example, corporate social responsibility. Now, culture is not very definitely defined there. They say old monuments वगैरह का है उसमें, there is some provision, but not culture as a whole. But they are right. I talk to some people in the government, and they say if you write culture, people will just be having dance programs, and do nothing. At least for social causes, dancing is not social cause. It's good for society, for but how much? And those who are very active and those who are very clever, they get away with everything. Anyway.
No, I think you raised many important points, and I would really like to emphasize that maybe with heritage, we've crossed the first generation of it, as it were. In the 1980s, the word heritage was only beginning to be used. Now it is so overused, perhaps, that it's reached another extreme.
Yeah, but that is what my concern is, that it is used so much that it stays at a peripheral level.
That's right.
By saying, because in India, the mentality of the people is that by saying it, they have done it. That is where my problem comes. I don't mind people, those who have done something and prove, and achieved something and said, okay, we'll do this. I did it quietly, Sanskriti. I never made halla gulla about it. 5 acres of land and 3 collections, private collections, and hundreds of people are using it. Beautiful environment. It has happened gradually, very organically. With it. So, and I never had so much of money. Frankly speaking, I could even not dream of it, because it has been very organic. Itna kiya, then grow ahead. Do this much and then move ahead. Like a constant journey. That is how institutions are built.
No, I do sincerely hope that a lot of young people are going to listen to this interview with you, because it is setting things out very clearly for them.
But I'm trying to say that the possibilities are immense.
Thank you so much. Again, this has been an invaluable experience
Thank
for
you.
me, and I think
मैं आपसे
it will
पूछना
shape a lot of people.
Thank you.